This is Bernie, I don't know, five days ago, talking to some Starbucks employees in Richmond, Virginia. It's one of the things the campaign did that I think had some controversy associated with it in terms of like a campaign assessment, that they used the campaign, the resources of the campaign, to bolster worker actions and strength through the campaign in a way that, at least, in modern times, we've not seen. Here's Bernie addressing some Starbucks workers.
Can you afford the health care that they give you? All right, so understand, I want you to understand this, because this is the bullshit that corporations often do. What they say to the public, McDonald's does it as well, Walmart does it. They say, oh, we're really generous. We are offering health care, we have this, we have that. And you look at the figures, nobody takes it because they can't afford. You understand that that is a bad situation. Anybody can walk across the street, get hit by a bus. You have friends who have been diagnosed with serious illnesses, right? It can happen to anybody.
I rejoined Starbucks in July last year whenever I moved to Richmond. And then in late August, I was diagnosed with cancer.
Okay.
And so I had no choice but to work full-time hours at Starbucks to afford health insurance so that I could get chemotherapy and all my medications. So I'm working at least 30 hours a week. I'm chemo sick.
What is your name?
My name is TJ.
TJ? All right. Thank you.
Thank God I had my last treatment in January.
Okay, so first off, there, I'm struck in that scene, just the idea that, he's continuing, and this is what he did during the campaign.
And he's done his entire career, right? This is quintessential Bernie Sanders.
And it's young people. There is a growing awareness amongst younger people of a different sort of expectations of politics, that, we could see it start, coming out of Occupy, but it really coalesced in 2015 around Bernie, the idea of money in politics, and that's where we started to see some actual class consciousness return to our politics. What just give me a sense of the campaign's legacy. How much of that carries on beyond and outside of Bernie?
Look, I think one of Bernie's points was you can't just win the election. We need a movement of workers in this country to carry through our agenda, right? So part of the campaign had to be, how do you create that movement of workers? How do you make the struggles of workers eat as a part of the struggles of the campaign? It's why during the campaign, we went to the Walmart shareholder meeting, right? And Bernie spoke at the Walmart shareholder meeting and rallied workers outside. That wasn't because Bentonville, Arkansas is like a hotbed of, delegates for the Democratic Party. It was because Bernie thought that labor organizing was an intrinsic part of the campaign. And I think you see as a lasting impact, I think in this country, you see a rise in young people's recognition of unions, the power of unions, and what unions can mean. And I do think part of that credit goes to Bernie Sanders for really bringing a culture of labor organizing to politics. And look, not all the credit. I think the people organizing, the Chris Smalls, deserve the bulk of the credit, right? But Bernie really wanted to bring that level of class consciousness and the idea that unions can help you in these workplaces to politics. And this isn't just about winning an election in the White House. This might also be about winning an election in your workplace.
All right. So lastly, 2024, what do you know? What do you hear? I know you hear things.
I got nothing.
I know you hear things. Come on.
Here's what I know. Bernie himself is an unstoppable force. And, the memo that got sent out that became a whole rigmarole last week said, if Joe Biden doesn't run, which is a big if, and frankly, if you ask me, I'm a betting man. So if you ask me to take a bet, I'd bet on the Joe Biden running side again. Just because I think that's the most likely. But if Joe Biden doesn't run, he's not taking himself out of the race in that case. When I wrote the book, truthfully, and you can tell in the tone, I didn't think Bernie was going to run another race. But if Bernie says he would think about doing it, look, you showed the video of him in Richmond. Earlier that day, he was on Staten Island with Amazon workers. 2 days ago, he's protesting outside the White House for student debt relief. Bernie is kind of, he's got an inhuman amount of energy. And I believe if he says he can do it, he would at least think about it. Like, I fully believe that. Frankly, too much for me. I don't have the energy for it. I'll tell you that much.
All right. One more question.
That's on a personal level. I mean, I wouldn't have the energy to work on a campaign like that again.
I understand. One more question. I lied that one was the last one. Has Bernie changed his philosophy or approach in working within the system, particularly the Democratic Party? And if so, why?
I don't think he's changed his approach. He's always been a person from the time, look how he governed as mayor. He, won, the city council opposed him. He kind of had a fight with the city council for 2 years and then spent 6 years successfully governing the city. In the House, he passed amendment after amendment after amendment, and you don't do that without working with your colleagues. In the Senate, he and John McCain negotiated the largest veterans bill, one of the largest veterans bills in this country's history. And then you take that to the beginning of 2021, and Bernie Sanders is the person responsible for a $1.7 trillion reconciliation package, one of the largest in our country's history. And that was an incredibly complex bill that I was kind of the capstone to my Senate career working on that bill, where you were talking about policies across the board that really made a difference in people's lives. And I think Bernie is a guy who very much can get out on the campaign trail, fight, and then sit down at the table and work. And I think, I'm going to be honest, one of the mistakes Democrats often make is they bargain in public, like they soften their rhetoric. And then by the time you get to the bargaining table, they have to bargain 10 more times. Bernie will go to the bargaining table. He's done it on bills, but he doesn't pre-negotiate ever. And that's the difference with Bernie. He's not going to pre-negotiate with you. He'll bargain when it's time to bargain, but he's not going to pre-do it.
All right, Rabenhoff, the book, I had so many other things I wanted to talk to you about, but we have sadly run out of time. We're going to have you back soon. The book is called The Fighting Soul: On the Road with Bernie Sanders. We will put a link to it at majority.fm. Great to see you.
Thank you for having me, Sam and Emma.
Thanks so much, Ari.